Alright guys, just to show you what's going on here. What ended up happening is that the caliper on this side was frozen stuck. I couldn't get it turned to put the new brake pads in. So what I had to do was disconnect the brake line that's up here. That brake line there. There's a brake hose that went down and connected to the caliper. What I ended up doing is the same trick I tried on the other side, what that ended up I didn't really need. So what I did was I put the bracket on, put the caliper on with no rotor, and then put my little tool, put this little tool in there to see, to try to get it broken loose, but it didn't work. The only thing that ended up breaking is a little piece. You can see the little chunks. It's not, you see there's only like one tab left. There's supposed to be 4, so they all broke off. Same thing on this side, that one broke off as well. So yeah, it's giving me a little bit of a headache. I had to disconnect the emergency brake holder. Wasn't that bad, but the only way you can do it is to take the line off up here, and once the line is off, the caliper comes down, and then you can kind of work this thing off of there. So what I ended up doing, because I'm gonna try to avoid buying a whole nother caliper, is putting it in a vise. Hopefully we can salvage this. If it doesn't work, then I'm gonna have to buy another caliper, which kind of sucks. But we're gonna see. Alright guys, had a little hiccup on the other side as you saw in the last video. Caliper's not working. I ordered another one from the parts store, should be here in the morning. But here at Wrench Garage, those little things don't stop us. So we're going to go ahead and do the front brakes, and we're going to try to get this steering rack in. Do it all in the same day, baby. We're going to make it happen regardless. We don't stop here, we don't quit here at Wrench Garage. We make it happen, we get the job done, and we get it done right. So, on to the next. Alright guys, we are right back in the mix here. So this is the front driver side brake caliper. Looks like the rubber piece is intact over there. This may be the same situation as the one in the back. Hopefully not the same situation as the one on the other side. I'm gonna do something a little different toward here at the front. Basically what we're gonna do is I'm gonna tear this whole thing apart all the way down. Probably remove the hub as well because of this. Wah, wah, wah. This right here is the lower ball joint. We're gonna be replacing that because the other one looks like crap. What we also have over here, brake pads, and a new rotor. Bling. What we also have over here, we have another nice little surprise for you guys today. I love getting parts in the mail. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, what we also have gotten in the mail are yes, our brand new tie rod ends. So, we can then assemble our steering rack. And we can probably get the whole front suspension done today. Tomorrow we'll go ahead and do that, put on the other caliper and finish the rear brakes, and go ahead and start with the tune-up, and hopefully we can be driving this thing. So just like the rear, I'm going to start with wire brushing this thing out, getting all the crap off of it. And then we're going to tear it all apart. And while it's torn apart, we'll go ahead and paint it. Make it look like we gave a crap on this thing. Also, just, you know, aesthetic purposes, I think it just looks good painted also. And I had some leftover caliper paint that I wasn't going to use on the Supra because the Supra calipers are painted red. Because of awesomeness. That's why, because awesome. So, yeah, I'm going to continue doing this. I'm going to knock all the crap off of this and then clean it up with some paint thinner because I ran out of brake parts cleaner. Trust me, that stuff works just as good. And we'll get back to you. Alright, so just to get you guys a little shot of this right here. These are 14mm bolts. I've already cracked them off with my awesome Duralast ratcheting wrench. I have Duralast and I have Pittsburgh. Both of them seem to work really nice. I haven't had an issue with any of these. Beat on them with a hammer, and you know what? They just keep working. So I'm gonna keep working because the tools keep working. And this one is a lot easier to get off of here than the other one. So hopefully that tells me that somebody's been paying some attention to these. You don't want to let that hang like that. So I'm just gonna place it back here where I don't have any issues with it. Hopefully don't have any issues with it. Alright, same thing, these pins, you want to have them greased, and we're just going to knock these off right now. Since I'm just tearing it apart, and it looks like these have actually been taken care of, these little brackets, they look like they're okay. I'll just clean them up and use them again. Number one, I didn't get a new one. Alright, so the 17mm is not going to fit on the front. On the front, we're going to give the 18mm a shot. Turns out this is a 19mm. So we're just going to go ahead and, since we got some room in here, we're going to knock this off with the impact. Save us a little bit of time here. Try to save us some time. Might need to break out the breaker bar in this thing. Alright, so it doesn't want to go. Is PV blaster. Penetrate the fluid. Hit that. Hit that there. Don't need much. And then I'm going to come back with I'm going to try it here first with just brute strength. See what we got. Alright, so because I'm extremely strong, I was able to break that off using some relatively brute strength. This one here, we're gonna see if my brute strength works here too. There we go. Because I'm very masculine, I'm a man, and this kind of stuff, I can't be defeated by it. So let's let's take this apart. Knock these off. There we go. So these two 19mm bolts are out. These were 14mm. And we can just remove this thing. Put it off to the side, we'll get it cleaned up later. And you can see all the trash in here. It's really bad. And you hear that? Wheel bearing. That's not good. So I think tearing this down is the idea to do, for the simple fact that I'm gonna have to replace either the whole hub, or I'm gonna try to get in there and get the bearing. But that, listen to that, that shit sounds horrible. So yeah, I'm gonna need a wheel bearing. I feel like I'm spending a little bit too much money on this thing and maybe a little bit too much time. But however, I don't like things leaving my shop incomplete or in the best driving condition that I can make it. So it's gonna get done. That sounds horrible. One more time, one more time. So yeah. Well, we're gonna continue on. We're gonna break this thing all the way down. It looks like we're gonna need a little bit of everything. All right. All right, guys. After much deliberation and research, I found that the bearing hub assembly is connected to the rotor on this type of vehicle. So the rotor just doesn't slide off, or you can't persuade it with a hammer, which I tried. So the idea is to take this locking clip off, just like you've seen many times before. Just bend these where you can get them out. Some pliers or something. You want to use your fingers. Why don't you use your fingers? That's right. You fuck them up. You fuck up your fingers. It's the only set you got. Alright, so once that's out, this little cap comes off. And then this little nut right there comes off. Actually, it wasn't even on very tight to begin with, which is weird. So, I don't know. Take this thing off. That's probably why the bearing was destroyed. Nobody ever tightened that up. I gotta see the torque specs for it. But yeah, it's probably why this, see it fell off. Probably why this isn't in such good shape. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna replace it. I don't see that being very expensive, so might as well replace it while you're in there. Doesn't seem like a big fuzzy deal. But now this slides right off. Now on the back, see those nuts in there? That's why you can't just pop this off with a hammer. You gotta take those bolts out. Give you a good shot. So let's get started with that. I'll be back. All right, so you guys can see what I'm doing now. It's pretty basic. Just gonna drive the bolts out of here. I believe this is a 14 millimeter. I don't want to lie to you guys, so I'm gonna double check it. Yeah, it's a 14 millimeter. And we just snap these out of here like so. Nasty in there, but what I'll probably do is clean this hub up, paint it. Heading over to the store in a little bit to pick up some new inner and outer. Pick up some new inner and outer sorry for the pause. Going to the store to pick up some inner and outer bearings for this. So with these being out now, This has to be one of the weirdest brake jobs, but I'm not too worried about it. Keeps getting stuck. And then this should actually just separate from the rest of it. Let's try to separate this up. And there we go, after you catch your thumb real good. But yeah, here's the hub. Just gotta change those bearings out of there. Kind of shitty. So that's it. That's how you do that. That's what I did with my thumb. Oh. Alright, we're finally making a little bit of progress here. Getting this old fuddy-duddy out of here. This thing wanted to make sure it didn't want to go. Wanted to let me know something. It wanted to tell me. It wanted to give me a what for. Yeah. So the seal's coming out. Albeit a little messy, but it's coming out. So. There we go. Might have something going now. There we go. Whew. Finally got that seal out of there. So now, the idea is gonna have to clean that up a little bit. Put a bunch more grease in there. The other side, now, I gotta get the bearing race out of there. Now this one shouldn't be that bad. I know this one, you just do a tap on each side until it actually starts coming out. Just keep bashing it back and forth, and eventually. Hub race is out. Not any damage to the thing either. I did okay. There's those little notches in there that you're supposed to use, and I did a good job of that because nothing else is ripped up in there. So yeah, I think we're good. Just to give you an idea on what we got going on in there. There may not be enough room for that. I'll get you a light. Don't worry. Alright. So, seal's out. Bearing is out. Bearing race is out. You can see the inside of there. Those are those two little notches I was telling you about. You line them up in there. See that? Line them up in there. There's a lot of grease in there, so I'm going to have to repack it with grease anyway. But yeah, that's it. And apparently that's all you have to do. Alright guys, so this is the lower control arm, and this is the control arm. This is the sway bar bushing. Goes into the sway bar, which is right here, and to the lower control arm. And as you can see, that's also beat to death. So I went ahead and ordered one the other day. Should be here in a couple of days, or it should be here probably tomorrow. And actually, so what I have to do is I have to take this out, and also take out the ball joint, which is right in here. See if you can see that. Right there, the ball joint's in here. Then you got to take this out right there, and then I should be able to drop this whole thing out, so I can take the ball joint out. So Keep pressing. Show you this. Those two bolts came out with the 17 millimeter. I had to take those out in order to get the lower control arm to drop down after I unbolt the ball joint. So, just to show you that, keep it moving. Well guys, this thing's been giving me a heck of a lot of trouble. But we don't quit here at Wrench Trench Garage. We make things happen. However, this has become a huge pain in the ass. Let me show you what I'm talking about. First of all, the bolt here is seized, doesn't want to come out. And the other side, right there, that's right, I broke it off. I've been trying to drill it out, and as you can see, my drill went off to the side of it, so there's going to be a lot of craziness going on there to get that right. You can see that right in there. And yes, this is the entire the entire strut with the hub and everything else off and out of the car. I had to do it because there's a good chance the whole thing might get replaced. And yeah, you can see the gaping hole that used to be the driver's side suspension. So just to show you that, hey, things happen. Sometimes you got to dig a little deeper than you expected. Happens every time. This side I haven't even started on. I ended up just taking everything out. It's probably a little dark, but yeah, I just ended up doing the hub and everything, took that out of there. Can only imagine what the ball joint's going to be like on that side. So it looks like there may be a trip to the junkyard in my future, so that I can maybe just pick up a whole nother one. That way I ain't got to bother with this. Or I'm going to have to break out the torch, the tap and die kit, and I'm telling you, anytime you have to break out the tap and die kit, you're having a bad day. But hey, it is what it is. We're going to keep moving on. I do have another vehicle out front that I need to work on. I don't know if I'll get to it tonight, but we'll see. I'm going to make some decisions, and I'll get back to you at Wrench Trench Garage. See ya.